Well, Chris, what do you got there, dude?
Oh, this is a special custom prototype Martin guitar. One of two, signed by Chris Martin. Pretty cool.
Wait, what was that?
Oh, this is a special custom prototype Martin guitar. One of two, signed by Chris Martin. Pretty cool.
What's that?
Oh, this is also a custom prototype Martin guitar. Pretty cool, huh?
How many of those do you have?
Lots. Lots. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom shirts, and check out our podcast, The Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. So we have very, how many times can I say very cool Martin prototypes. We've shown you a handful. There's a lot to talk about, and we're going to demo these today. But it's a cool story how we got these. So Cooper, do you want to kind of lay down the legend, as it were, and let people know how these came to be?
Yeah, so here's the scoop. Jim Marentz, our Martin representative, who, hits us up when there's some cool stuff to be had.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. He emailed us a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we got some prototypes. It was so nonchalant, too. He's like, not sure if you'll want these. We got some prototypes. Basically, these are guitars that span up to 20 years.
Yeah, 22 years.
A little over 20, 22 years. Some are younger, some hit that mark, but these are guitars that were made in the factory as prototypes, stamped as prototypes, and kept in the case in the factory this whole time, never able to sell, and they finally made them available. And I think they hit up a good group of people and said, first come, first serve, and we snagged them all. So,
I like how that email kind of went, because Jim's like, do you want any of these? Or do you want some of these or anything? And my answer is kind of like, yes. Which ones? Yes.
Yeah. So we got a list, and we kind of spent a few minutes going back for like, which ones should we take? And I was like, let's do it. Yeah, because there is something for everybody. They range prices from 3 digits to 5 digits.
Mm-hmm.
You can, obviously, we'll say it at the end, but you can check them all out on the website. But there's some really, really special stuff, and a lot that's accessible for pretty much anybody. So.
Yeah, what's really cool about these is there is something that's accessible for anybody. So if you are wanting to have something that's unique and special, that's a great guitar, that has some history to it, that's collectible in being a prototype, then you can get something in this batch, and you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money to get something that's very cool, that represents, in some cases, series that ended up taking place and may or may not still be around or have changed, and in other cases, just like strangely one-off amazing guitars, like the one you're holding.
Yeah.
It's one of two.
This is one of two, as denoted in the label, which has been signed by Chris Martin, not from Coldplay.
Not that Chris Martin.
Chris F. Martin.
He would have painted
the
this like
fourth.
4 colors with U-Sharpie.
So this is one of two, OM figured koa, hence figured koa. And, I think everybody was like, is this based off OM42? What the deal? It's got the top pearl, but it goes all around like a 45.
Yeah, it's got the fretboard extension.
Got beautiful abalone. And then it's got the 45 style mosaic strip. Really incredible engraved open gear tuners, some unique inlay that I've never seen on the fretboard. So
and I really like these. So they're kind of the octagonal inlays that you'd see on a 45, but they're fancier than that.
That's hexagonal, Chris.
Hexagonal, sorry. But that you've got kind of this flared diamond.
Mm-hmm.
It's got mother pearl and abalone. They're just really, really nice. And then of course the inlay on the headstock.
Yeah, flower pot. That flower pot inlay, which is just super cool. So this is literally one of two. I was going to say this is basically one of a kind. It's one of two of a kind.
Yeah, Chris kept the other one.
And
not this Chris, I wish.
Yeah. So I believe this one's 2007?
Yeah.
2007, and then
I noticed too they did like the long saddle on it. Like there's some really cool choices with this guitar. Adirondack koa. I was telling Cooper, someday I will have a custom Martin made for me, and it will be very much like this. I would love to have this guitar.
Yeah,
It's
this
just
is
awesome
a
guitar.
Chris guitar for sure.
Yeah.
But you got another Addy-topped beast,
Yeah, so this is a D42.
D42,
D42. I say that because there's a D41 in the mix. Hey.
and a 45. Just saying.
And a D45. So this is a D42 with Cambodian rosewood back and sides. It is an Adirondack top, so Tonewood's right off the bat, not your typical D42 that you would see in the normal lineup. The headstock has the CF
And my favorite,
Martin,
the CF
and then
Martin block.
it looks like it's also the Cambodian rosewood. It's that lighter rosewood that's up there. Cannon of a guitar. They've also, again, gone with the long saddle with that vintage appointment. It's got a nice V-neck on it that's super comfortable. And again, one of two signed by Chris Martin. And, again, so the understanding is he kept the other one,
Yeah. Yeah, that's even what Jim said is typically they'll make 2 or 3. One is kept for archives and kind of put in their. I would love to see what's in that warehouse. But
I remember going there and them kind of talking about that. It wasn't in depth, but on the tour that Patrick and I were on, it was like there were these shelves with guitars and they weren't available. It's just so obviously some of those guitars I saw were these, but I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's a lot of guitars that are not available.
Yeah.
It's like the wood that is not available there.
Yeah.
So
the cool thing, besides these ones specifically do have 1 of 2 on the label with the signature. A lot of these, I'd say the majority, there are a few that are not labeled as prototypes, but they're cool, unique pieces. On the block with the serial number on the inside of these and many others, there is a prototype stamp on there. Not to mention the understated but very cool Martin logo stamp on the back of the headstock. And so obviously we had to hold these because these are really cool. We have a couple others to show you in this video. If we were going to throw all 24 into one, we'd be here all day and you'd be here all day. There'll be more videos to come, but what are some things from the rest of that list that really stick out to you that you're excited about?
well, we have one of them here. Hand that one to me, the Humphrey.
Well, give me that one first.
Don't you love when you're moving around with thousands of dollars of guitar?
I love it, dude.
I remember one time I was walking downstairs in our store holding 2 $10,000 guitars. I just thought to myself, if I trip, this will be expensive. This is a CF Martin Humphrey classical guitar. We've both had the privilege of playing this today, which you'll hear, and it is a phenomenal classical guitar. It's Engelmann spruce and rosewood. It's a wedged body shape, so you've got this elevated fingerboard with this wedged shape, and it's a fantastic guitar. It's based upon Thomas Humphrey's Millennial, and they actually had these in production for a number of years. They haven't had them in production since 2002, and Thomas Humphrey passed away years ago. So his guitars and these are no longer available, and this is really just a phenomenal classical guitar.
Yeah.
It's all solid wood. It's got a truss rod, which is interesting, and the elevated fingerboard. It allows you to kind of reach up here when you normally wouldn't be able to, so you can reach the higher frets, with more ease. Really, just
And this one is from 2000.
2000. It's beautiful wood. It's beautiful appointments. It's like it's a 22-year-old guitar that's brand new, and I'm just trying to get over that because it really is brand new.
So it's worth it for you to kind of reiterate the story that you talked to me about. I think it was D45s that were the same age that one had extreme play, one had zero play. Talk about
we talked about this
there.
on our podcast, and it was in relation to kind of what the expectation getting these in. So Vintage Guitar Magazine ran a story, and I want to say it was back in 2017 or something like that. But they had a unique opportunity to inspect 2 D45s that were pre-war. They were within a serial number of each other, so they were basically made with the same pieces of Brazilian rosewood and Adirondack spruce. And they lived very, very different lives. One lived on the East Coast, one lived on the West Coast. One was used as a regular guitar that was gigged and saw wear and tear over the years, wasn't necessarily properly humidified, all of that stuff. The other one was kept pristine in a home, not gigged, and was looking very, very close to new. And yet, when they brought these two guitars together, they sounded pretty much the same. So there's this question, of how much does age versus playing contribute to the opening up of a guitar, and what that tells us, the closest you can get to having the same guitar over decades is that it's age more so than playing in. I think playing has a transient effect. People use I think it's called the tone right or something. It's a thing that you put on your guitar that vibrates it, when you're not playing it. And people say they get results with that, but when they stop using it, it kind of returns. So there's a excitability that, decays.
Yeah.
But age, the guitar opens up, the wood becomes lighter, volatiles evaporate. We've kind of talked about that. That just happens over time. And so you get this is literally a 22-year-old time capsule that has gone through aging and come out, and it's just, all of these guitars are new and beautiful.
That one specifically, like an award-winning guitar that is not made anymore.
Right.
And it's super comfortable to play, but you think about what Martin does today with nylon string guitars, with the 000 C, 16, 12, or 12, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. It's very modern-minded. This is a true classical guitar, which is something just way out of the ordinary for, say, a Martin collector, or somebody that just wants an incredible
And I really can't say enough of how much I really love this guitar. Playing it was a joy. Every bit of it that I'm looking at is really phenomenal, and the design is extremely unique. I think what Thomas Humphrey did with these designs was phenomenal, and really, the way these came about being is he couldn't keep up with demand, and so he licensed the design to Martin in this partnership collaboration. And these are rare to see ever, and I'm pretty sure that nobody has a new one anymore except for us. So. Very cool.
It's also worth saying, before we get into this one, all of the guitars come with a hard shell case that they've been kept in. So it's not like you got to worry about, well, this is a 20-year-old guitar, but it sat on a on-stage stand, in a factory. They are all in great condition hard shell cases. All the cases are different, but they're all really nice cases. And it's pretty wild. This is one that Chris chose to show off in this video because it's something cool, but it's also a good example of a lot of stuff, while not being like, this is high flame Koa prototype, whatever. This is a prototype, and it's just something pretty cool. This is a DCE black.
For all you Johnny Cash fans out there in the audience.
Yeah, this is a big Johnny Cash guitar. This is from the Sustainable Wood series that they did. Marked as a prototype. Cool enough. It's got the 45 style mosaic strip in the back, which is one of my favorite things. But, I mean,
Fishman Aura Pro preamp, which is really cool.
And there's at least two more from the Sustainable Wood series that's in here. They don't make those anymore, but it's kind of a cool...
SWGT, right?
Yeah. Something cool from just a series in Martin history. I feel like playing this guitar, it's a dreadnought with a cutaway, not super easy to come by. We have a ton of people asking for dreadnoughts with cutaways, which there are a lot in this group. So if you're looking for some a little more classic Martin looking that's not all black, really nice spruce and rosewood cutaway dreadnoughts in there.
Yeah, I love it. It's all solid wood. It's US made. It's affordable. It's prototype. And what's cool about it, speaking to Johnny Cash, it's not a Johnny Cash model, but I consider any black Martin to be a Johnny Cash model because it's because of Johnny Cash that they're what. Do you ever hear that story? So he, he's a big star and he wants a custom made Martin guitar and he wants it all black. And they were not going to do it. So I think it was one of Chris Martin's grandfathers or something that was in charge at the time. He's like, nope, we're not making a black lacquered Martin guitar. We're not going to do it. Sorry, tell Mr. Cash the answer's no. And someone didn't get that memo, and they made it anyway. And then he's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we made it. And of course, it became this really famous guitar. So
it's very cool.
Now they make copies of it, so go figure.
Well, so like we said, there's too many to talk about, and they'll be rolled out in videos, but I think we should hear them a little bit.
Yeah.
And we both got to play on them, so.
Yeah, so check it out. Well, so there you have it. A sampling of a gaggle. What do you call it? It's not a herd. Is it gaggle? Is it a murder of
It's a murder of
prototypes?
crows, yeah.
A murder of prototypes that we have available. We've shown you a few that I wish I could keep this guitar someday. But yeah, there is something very, very cool. There's some really high-end stuff. There's some very affordable stuff. I think it's all USA made.
Yeah, and I want to inspire you to hit subscribe and put notifications on because we will be rolling stuff out. So I'm going to tease you with a few different things.
Yep.
Some prototypes of the Vintage series, which is one of my favorite kind of things that they've done in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
There's a single 028 VS with a slotted headstock, 12 fret, really cool. 0018,
Yep.
which is, I mean, I haven't even opened that up yet, and I
I'm
know
anxious.
that that's going to be an awesome guitar. There is, like we said, a D45E Retro. I mean, that's cool. There's a D41. I'm trying to think, the DCPA one, that's an awesome guitar that's a little weird and a little out there. There's an all-solid Mango uke that is one of one, never released, and the smallest, cutest little hard case. So that's enough right there. But like I said, also, all these guitars have hard shell cases, and some of them are kind of cool in and of themselves. The D42 Cambodian has a
Blue.
like powder blue hard shell case with blue plush lining. Very cool.
That's a callback to some of the stuff they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
They had some weird colored cases, man. But very, very cool stuff.
There's like an OMM, a DM, like stuff that is all solid wood and made in America that is just off the beaten path from your typical, say, OM28 or whatever. So a lot of cool stuff coming through. There's going to be something, like every single one will strike the fancy of a different kind of player.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And this is the typical PSA. Like, if you're interested, act now, go to the website. What website should they go to, Cooper?
You're going to want to go to alamomusic.com.
There you go.
That's
Good.
where they are. Yeah.
Good job.
I remembered this time.
You can chat with someone there. You can check out all the photos. You can call us, what have you. But, each one of these is kind of, there's one. So, if you see something you like, move on it before someone beats you to it. And if they do, sorry, but maybe you like something else in the mix.
Maybe we'll get the next round of prototypes in 22 years, so we'll see you then.
Yeah, just be patient.
Yeah.
Sign up for the email, and then
Yeah.
22 years from now. So, anyways, we hope you enjoyed this video, this walk down some Martin history, and a chance to take a look at some very, very cool guitars. If you aren't already, subscribe, like the videos, like you said, and keep coming back for more. At the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is a prototype that there's one of one or one of two of.
These are true closet classics, you know what I'm saying? They're factory classics.
There you go, factory closet classics. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.